Hi guys, slightly different video today. I've had a lot of messages on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter and everything else, all about living the dream and about how myself and Rick and other YouTube golfers are really just living this fantastic life. And you know what, I've got to agree, it's pretty amazing at the moment. I'm sat doing this video in my new house in what will be my new office when I finally figure out how to paint and decorate. But I just wanted to give a few words of advice, for whatever it's worth, about how you can really kind of, if you're unhappy with the situation that you're in, kind of change a few things around. I'm not saying that I'm an expert by kind of any means, but there's certain things which are true, and there's certain things which I can, give you, and hopefully that you can take away and, work on. It feels really weird doing this video. So to kind of let you know a little bit about what I've learned in these kind of last few years, and for anyone who wants to know, we need to take a little bit of a trip down memory lane to begin with. I moved out of home when I was 17, went down to Shropshire, and I was in Shropshire for 10 years as an assistant pro, then a pro, and then kind of a second in command, if you want to look at it like that, at a golf shop. And that was over an 8-year span, and I loved the teaching, I loved the playing, but I didn't like the shop environment, selling Mars bars and Snickers and clothing and retailing. It just really wasn't for me. I didn't enjoy that side of the actual business. So what I wanted to do was, I couldn't really see a way out of that situation. I didn't know about YouTube at that point really, and I couldn't see a way out of that situation. So I decided to do something else, which I'd been doing at the time, and that was to work as a full-time journalist. Now, I was a full-time journalist for 2 years for a daily newspaper, working on everything from politics to education to crime to village fates, pretty much everything. And it was the most down period of my life. I don't want to say depressing, because I've known people who suffer with depression, and anytime I do any charity work, it's always for Mind, the mental health charity, because I know what a real destructive thing depression can be. So I'm certainly not going to say I was depressed, but I was really sad. I really didn't like my life at that period in time. I wasn't happy with myself, and it just wasn't a situation that I could really continue with. And as I looked around me at the people I was working with at that current moment in time, a lot of them were in the same situation. They hated what they were doing, but they were picking up a stable paycheck. They wanted to be safe in that environment, but the more and more I looked at it, the more and more I thought, I just can't carry on like this. So I stopped the journalism, knocked it straight on the head, got a job back in golf at a driving range, just doing a bit of teaching, a bit of shop work. But it wasn't until I got up to kind of Manchester, started doing these videos, started working harder than I've ever worked before, when things really started to improve, and they've led me up to this point now. So I suppose this kind of brings us up to where I dole out nuggets of advice. The first thing I would say is, if you're in a situation kind of work-wise where you're not happy, you're just there because it's picking up that stable paycheck and you can't really see a way forward for yourself, you need to get yourself out and take the risk of trying something and doing something new, if at all possible. And this is especially for kind of people who haven't got long careers and people who are just starting out. I would try and find a way to work for yourself. Don't get in a situation where you're working for other people. If you have the ability to control your own kind of destiny, then you've got to seize it, and you've got to seize it with both hands. But what it does mean is that you will be working hard and having to work harder than you will have ever thought possible, ever thought of needed to work that hard. Because when you're self-employed, you're not working 9 to 5, you're not kind of picking up that stable paycheck. You have to be willing to put everything you have into what you try and do. Although kind of myself and Rick, we are so happy now, we are really living a fantastic life. Behind the camera, as soon as this goes down, my list of things to actually get through and do is ridiculously long. I'm only coaching now 2 days a week, but to put it in an hour perspective, it's still 60, 70 hour weeks, you know, very, very easily because of all the work that we're doing. So yes, stopping your 9 to 5, yes, getting out of a situation you're not happy with is absolutely fine, but you've got to be willing to just lay everything on the line and just absolutely smash it for as long as you can until you get to where you want to be. The second little bit of advice would probably be to not listen to anyone who tries to drag you back down. There are a lot of people who want to, or would have wished to have improved their situation, but didn't quite have that courage to get over the line and to really try and work hard for it. And they will always be willing to try and drag you down back to their level because they don't want other people to succeed. Now, there are only really a few people like this, but there are people like that in everyone's lives. If you can surround yourself with people who are positive, people who can help you and that you can help in return, you're going to be able to push yourself on so much further and so much quicker than you ever believed. Surrounding yourself with good people is absolutely vital for what you want to do, because if I look at my business, so my golf coaching and then my YouTube side of things, although it's got my name on it, you know, the people who are helping me, you know, it's my family, my girlfriend, Rick, my friends. There's so many people who are helping push me forward. You know, I couldn't be doing it without them. So surrounding yourself with people who are pulling in your direction is absolutely crucial. On that as well, you need to try and really ignore the naysayers. One of the, I want to say the bad things really about YouTube is when you get trolls and when you get kind of people commenting on the videos, not saying particularly nice things about you or kind of what you're doing. Is having thick enough skin to be able to rise above that and to have the conviction about what you're doing and why you are doing those things as well, and carrying on and continuing to work super hard. I also believe in a slightly odd way that before you ask anyone for help, you should really plow on and try and do whatever it is yourself, as long as you don't put yourself at risk. Without making the mistakes, you'll never really learn what it is you need to do to improve. If I look back on my kind of early videos now, they're bad, you know, they're really bad. The presentation, not so much the content, because I think I managed to get across kind of what I was trying to, but the presentation, like the filming, the editing. There's so much that I've kind of learned from watching those videos again and from evolving the process as I go forwards. It is absolutely crucial that you make these kind of cringe-worthy mistakes for yourself, because if you don't make the mistakes, you won't learn, and if you don't learn, you're never going to get any better. That brings us on to something which I'm very passionate about, obviously social media. Social media, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it might be, if you can kind of crack that little code and you can achieve a level of success on those platforms, then you will be able to bring yourself to a wider attention much more easily than anything else ever. Really, it's a total revolution of how people can broadcast themselves like this, transmit their message, what they want to try and get across. And if you're looking to become a business and you're looking to, you know, make something successful out of it, it allows you to communicate and reach people that you wouldn't have had an opportunity to reach before. So there isn't really a single job in the world I can think about where using social media is a bad thing. But I might be wrong. Last little bit before we end is try not to be afraid of what you're doing. I have kind of invested quite a lot of kind of capital really into YouTube to buy the camera equipment, to buy kind of the editing software and everything else, and it's not cheap, it's an expensive thing to do. But if you're confident about the direction that you're going, you know, you shouldn't be afraid of actually putting money into it, because you will reap the rewards back. But it is such a nerve-wracking thing to actually do to begin with. It really does take some kahunas to actually get it done. Right, and that is it. you know what, I don't know if this video is needed, but by the amount of kind of messages that I've had and about different people wanting to learn a little bit more about kind of what I'm doing and kind of how it all works, then I wanted to put this out there. So if it's helped any of you guys, then great. If not, then stay tuned, because there will be more golf videos coming. One from this room right after this, actually. I need to do a quest for the open video, so stay tuned. That will be coming tomorrow. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and follow us on our other social media platforms as well. And I will, there's no one else in here, just me. I will see you soon, tomorrow, in fact. Okay, this was really, really embarrassing in many, many ways. I've never felt so exposed.